trying to say is that we need to understand the body in terms of context. Right? Okay. So, if we're free fighting, we have certain actions at work. We want to train our bodies, right? We want to train our bodies so we have that elongated technique, so that our kicks have a longer reach. Right? And a roundhouse kick has speed. We want to do that. If we're training for self-defense, well, kind of what we do in karate, we carry over to our self-defense. Otherwise, you got to do two different things and two different things, right? So you try to have it so there's some continuity. One way to look at continuity is when we talk about during the exercises, is teaching that body to move. The legs get strong. I learn how to put those in our technique. We take that and we do our kata. We learn our posture. I know that most of you guys spend too much time memorizing the form and not enough time practicing. Right? If not, there's not enough hours in the day to do it the right way anyways. Right? Because you'll work. Okay, you see, so the form teaches us. Got it. Excellent. Huh? Right? Yes, sir. Hey. We need to pay attention to those things. So we have what we call this natural athlete. Remember that? All right. Anybody here a natural athlete? Anyone call it a natural athlete?
Yes, Mr. Clark. Started swimming before I was 1 and just...
Well, every baby does that. They swim in water, hold their breath together.
Ran.
That's a standard thing they do with, they do with babies anymore. Okay. The skills that you learn naturally, how much time do you spend practicing? Very much. A lot of athletes that people say are natural athletes practice a skill over and over and over and over and over again until they get it right. Now, their bodies may have better coordination, better posture. Okay? You understand? And they may more naturally move, less stiffness because of the way your hips and knees put together. And that is that sense of nature, and that makes it easy for them to learn. But it's still, over a lifetime of practice, you can attain the same thing. There's no reason why you can't. But you have to train your body to move correctly. Now, if we learn to carry ourselves correctly, we learn how to walk correctly, right? Then we reduce the need to have to use the physical aspect of the martial arts. But we have to use the physical aspect of the martial arts. We have to consider our legal culture, right? Witnesses, what the guy is trying to do to you, because that says how the court is going to respond, probably. Am I correct? Yes. If I'm saying something wrong, let me know. Right? So now, I need a technique that I can talk to the guy about this. Give him enough pain so he wants to quit. Hurt him so he can't continue. Or what? Stop. Take him out. 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 You see, there's just different levels of violence. Is that right? Right. Okay. So, try to have your technique so that you can, not even thinking, modulate that technique to create the desired result. And the technique that we just played with here, the guy down the jar, you saw how that could be very easily turned into any one of those three levels whatsoever. Is that right? Same technique, just by changing a few things. You catch the one where I took his leg. What skill is that? Well, that's a good answer. Have you ever known a judo throw that face plant somebody? Look at the 65 throws that coach taught judo. Many of them face plant somebody.
No, sir.
Judo is self-defense. So why aren't there any face plants? I mean, really, you're falling on your back all the time? Most judo throws, there's some of these guys who's up and land on his head, yeah. But you get the idea. So, when I do the karate Montai, we use the Heian kata, the Heian in Korean, and that every one of our Montai ends the person on the ground in a face plant. Okay. And we don't use the block the punch, complete concept that a lot of people use with the Montai. That is 1934, basically, roughly. Okay. So, we learn how to escalate our bodies with our technique to get the desired result. We learn how to carry ourselves so we don't even have to get to that point. And we learn to use our body language, our voice, and other skills to contain situations. All right? So let's see, what would be some rules? If I said that's my seat, what's the worst answer you could say?
This is your seat.
That's not a very good answer, because what has he just done? He's claimed the territory and I've claimed the territory. Is that right?
That's correct.
Now we have the Middle East. Right here in West Virginia. What's going to happen? Very easily lead to a confrontation. Put it in a bar, it's going to get real tight. Wrong response. If your goal is not to have a fight, what should your response be?
Yes, sir, I'll move to the other seat.
Yeah. Sorry here. All right. So,
Also, me and my three buddies say this is my seat.
I don't like your, I don't like your beard. I don't like your beard. Why was she running?
I'm gorgeous.
Oh, really? Where's this one heading? How are you going to solve this problem?
Stay back 2 steps.
What are we
9
fighting
millimeters.
Huh? What are we fighting? We're fighting over, no, we're fighting over something. So, yeah, this is nothing. You're female. This is nothing to you, but it's something to us. I'm serious. We're fighting over face.
You don't like his face. You don't like him.
I don't like his face. If he said he didn't like mine, we'd be really ramping this up. Those are the two things you got to be careful of in the male world. Territory and face. Okay, so take this incident down in Florida. Young black lady. What do you think probably happened? I'll bet you they got into territorial. You don't belong here? Yes, I do. Kid's going to see his grandparents, the guy's walking around town. Nobody knows what really happened. I'll bet you money it was based on territorial situation. And the response of the young black boy was incorrect in circumstances. Because he claimed the territory too, because he felt it was right to do that. This is what I think happened. And he gets shot. See where context is important. I don't know what girls fight over. I've never had that experience. So.
Fight over boys.
Yeah. Yeah, we do self-defense at the university. My wife has had to say no whoops like that at all. Because a whoop is a verbal attack. Okay? Because that's the one they all go to. So what's the solution? How do you avoid a fight? So you got to be willing to give the guy an out. You have to be willing to not be the toughest guy. And say, just to get in the fight, is it worth it? No, I'm going to go. All right? You go get in the bar fight in Kent, Ohio. They put your head on the side of the curb and they stomp on it. And you don't die right away. You die about 3 or 4 days later. And there we have kids. You really want to have an argument in a bar. The gangs of Cleveland come down and that's where they get their day. Don't go to the bar. That'll be the first thing you're going to. So if you're going to go there, you should understand it. So hopefully you got a little bit out of, what I did. Hopefully you'll go back and think about some of your techniques, how you perform them, the mind you take to them. That's all very important. Because how many of you guys want to be martial artists 30 years from now? So you have to know what you're doing. Because if you're going to be in martial arts 30 years from now, you're probably all going to be teaching it. And then you're going to have a responsibility. If you're teaching sport martial arts, which some martial arts today are close to sport, then your job is to teach them the right? Important aspect of it. If you're teaching people for self-defense, then your job is to teach people something that will work. You know, if you're teaching an overall martial arts program of what the martial arts are, for most of you, you probably come out pretty good for scrap, I would imagine. Right? And if we were just to train you all to be warriors, we wouldn't need to train you for years. How long does it take to train a warrior? Huh? U.S. Army did
6
it every
months.
6 weeks during World War II. That was serious business. All they needed to do was train the, 6 weeks. What's the Germans doing? This is what they're doing. This is what they trained the soldiers, and they threw them over there. And the Germans trained tactics. Too bad to those guys. When how the tactics change, the next group goes over to counteract those tactics. That's how they did it. You just want to be the group that goes over and understands the tactics we're using and how to deal with it. Because if not, then there's a group after you that will learn from your mistakes. I didn't make that one up. That's there. You can find that. And that's how they did that. So training a warrior for somebody to go out and hurt somebody, you saw what I did there. It doesn't take a whole lot of training to do what I did. But an overall rounded martial artist, okay, 30 years experience, you're going to, you need to know more about different martial arts, and that keeps your mind active. Keeps it, working, studying, learning new things. Whether it be martial arts or art or whatever it is you do, that's a very important facet of your life, because that keeps you growing and keeps you young. Keeps you alert and active, keeps you on top of things. So there's nothing wrong with learning all these other different things. Those are helpful. But then we look at them and say, okay, the grab. The grab is just simply a context in which to learn a principle of martial arts. What is the principle being taught? And the grab that learns will help you do that. In the end, unless you train that one particular thing, so it happens without you thinking. Okay. You don't really have that technique down anyways, do you? And so isn't that your ultimate goal? Be able to respond. If the signal goes to your brain, it takes too long to get from the brain back to your muscles and tell you what to do. Right? So your response needs to be automatic. You don't have time to send the signal to your brain to make a decision and come back. And that's a very high skill level. It will take 30 years to get there. And then hopefully you have come a long way. Well, I've talked enough. I think Roger's out here. Hansi Jarrett's out here to get rid of me. So
No.
we're talking now. We have a little bit of work out.
All right, good. Everybody stand up.